Hello everyone, welcome back to In Your Prime. I'm Rue.
And I'm Ken.
Today we're going to talk about a topic that, to be honest, that most people really aren't aware of. But today we're going to have our thoughts and feelings on the topic and show you how to be more aware of it, how to, conduct yourself in the presence of it, and how to prevent it, most importantly. But today it's going to be more of a freestyle session, right? Not rapping, but we're going to have just an open conversation for you and audience to enjoy. So stay tuned.
Ladies and gentlemen, I guess the first thing we're going to talk about is how people are being programmed. And to use the word program might sound a little bit matrixy, but I think when you think about it, program just means the type of information that you're taking in, right?
Absolutely.
I perceive it as social media, scrolling back and forth throughout different social media, the TikToks, the Instagram, the YouTubes, and all that stuff. In a way, you're not even being aware of it, but it is programming in some sense, because you're listening to certain recommended videos, you're watching certain types of videos that appeals to you, and the ones that don't, you kind of just discard, right? You swipe away from that. All that's really happening still, yes, you're enjoying the entertainment consciously, but subconsciously, all the information is getting registered in your brain.
Yeah.
And then eventually you start picking up those same traits, so you start acting out some of those things that you are watching day to day. And I think that's probably why a lot of our parents, when we were kids, they were like, they didn't want us playing violent video games when we were kids, because eventually they would see it as us acting out those violent video games, right? I know Tekken was a problem, or Street Fighter, and I love those games. But my parents were kind of like, we don't want you playing violent video games. It's really not that serious. And at the same time, yeah, me and my brothers might have acted out a little bit, but we're just being kids, and we never did any Hadoukens to anyone. That was just kind of.
I hope not.
Hey,
you didn't uppercut anyone in the streets?
Let's just keep that on the down low.
Well, at least you have video games. I grew up without video games for most of my life.
Serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
I had like a Nintendo 64 for maybe 2 months, and then I think we got in trouble. My mom just took it away and just got rid of it.
Okay, but let me ask you, did you watch movies and stuff growing up?
Absolutely. Everyone watched movies. I love the Lion King movies. Oh, I shouldn't say that. I give my age away. But yeah, Lion King was definitely a good movie. All those old-fashioned Disney movies are really good. I enjoyed it growing up. You know what I mean?
You're giving away a lot of.
Oh no! Okay, that's 2 gems right there.
But the reason I brought up movies is because I think movies are a substantial way as to how people get programmed.
Absolutely.
Yeah, what do you think?
Most likely, yes. That's really how it goes, because you think about it, right? And I always say this, multiple times in different episodes, is that one thing that always stuck to me, what a psychologist said was, what you put into the mind is what controls the mind. Absolutely. Just like what you consume, like food. You consume food that affects your body. You know what I'm saying? Information affects your thoughts.
Let me ask you, what type of movies today do you think is programming or influencing people the most?
I feel like a lot of, I can't say any specific movies.
I'll tell you one, the Barbie movie. I think the Barbie movie.
I didn't see the Barbie movie, so I can't say.
Yeah, neither did I, but I you know what, and you bring up a good point. I didn't watch it, but from what I've heard of it, a lot of the reviews, it definitely comes off very feminine. And it is a Barbie movie. Obviously, it should come off very feminine. That's not a bad thing. But I think there can be subtle hints in movies that we're not aware of. That
subliminal messaging,
that can lead you to think a certain way and behave a certain way and have a certain outlook on anything that doesn't align with that reality. So I definitely think that has been one of the hotter movies. It's number one right now. It's been number one for a long time. And I don't doubt that it'll stay that way. But I just think that movie, along with other ones too, there's several other ones that I could name. That'll be even the Oppenheimer movie, that one that just came out. I wouldn't doubt that that's influencing you to believe a certain way.
I mean, I get that. I don't know. I'm saying the name right. The Oppenheimer movie. One guy made a good point. I was scrolling on TikTok, like everyone is nowadays. And one guy made a good point. He's just like, in the movies they glorify what he was doing. Like, it was such a cool thing. The music, the action, the intensity. They have a good looking actor to play the roles and things like that. It makes you feel like, oh, it's a cool thing he's doing, but he's committing atrocities. Like this, what happened, what he's doing, brings
a nuclear missile.
It ended I don't know how many people's lives. Like, I don't want to quote facts there. You know, someone come in the comment section. Actually, that's not true, but yes, to me, it's like they dramatize it to make it seem like such a cool thing. It's an actor show. Of course, it's the movies, and they're gonna do that. That's something natural to do, but you just have to be aware of it. That affects your perspective on certain things.
Those movies are hitting people's values, and in a way, it's a good thing. We want people to be able to have a sense of commonality and a sense of camaraderie.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, it is programming you. It is reinforcing a certain belief in your mind. So we're just saying, be aware of that.
Yeah.
Another big thing. We talked about social media. We talked about movies. Your friends are a big way as to how you're being programmed.
Yeah.
Your friends can influence you to either hang out with a certain type of group, listen to a certain type of music, even eat a certain type of food.
Yeah.
Your friends can be the influencers in your life. They say you are the average sum of the five people that you spend the most time around, okay?
Yeah.
And if you don't have 5 people that you spend the most time around, it could be 3 people, 2, 1 person.
Or even your cat. No, stop.
Yeah, your friends are a big reason as to why you are the way you are today. And you chose these people. You chose them consciously, all right? They do reflect a certain part of you. Everyone that comes into your life is a kind of like an expression of you.
A part of yourself.
Yes, an expression of a different part of your personality. Okay, so just maybe pay attention to that. Pay attention to the people you spend the most time around, because they will have a strong influence, not even just on who you are, but 2 strong parts of your life, and that is your successes, and your failures. Right?
Exactly.
I think there was a Harvard study, and I don't want to quote it. I know I'll mess it up.
Yeah.
But the guy said, based on the most successful people in life, they kind of took a little demographic of the people that are spending the most time around, and they were kind of basing it on the people who were the most successful also have a group of people who are successful.
Yep. Wolves run with wolves.
Exactly, and I would say birds of a feather, but we all know that quote.
As I say, the wolves. It sounds cool.
Right? It sounds cool.
Birds of a feather flock together. Yeah,
Hey,
obvious, yeah.
But also the people who are kind of like, I don't want to call them failures, but the people who are kind of cutting up in life, the people who don't really end up being what they could be.
Yeah. And guys, real quick, I want to tell a story that was kind of, I saw a sort of a guy. He was like a mob boss in prison, right? He had crimes and stuff like that, and they asked him, what's one of the biggest regrets you have in life? And he said that when he was young, that he actually picked up a trumpet. He was really good at playing the trumpet. And then he had his friends, you know, other people with him saying like, oh, black people don't play trumpets. You know what I'm saying? That's not what we do. And ended up committing crimes, ended up going to prison. You see, that's very powerful to me. That stuck out because of what they said to him. Their influence made him fail in life. Well, you know, I wouldn't say fail, but it took him down a dark path. In the end, he overcame and he got out of prison. He's making a name for himself, right? That's always good, but he could have been that trumpet player. We never know where his life would went. You know what I'm saying? He could have been an orchestra. He could have been like I don't know how trumpet players really get their living. But the point is, he had a dream. He was going to pursue it. But his friends held him back by influence and make him feel like, oh, you know, you can't do it. You can't make a difference. Don't let their limiting beliefs become your limited belief. You know what I'm saying? Go with winners. And if that's the case, you get friends that you care about, you want to succeed, then be a leader, right? Be that person who steps up and be a leader. You know what I'm saying? Lead by example. Saying, you know what? If you're not gonna step up, I'm gonna step up. And hopefully you'll influence them to go up. But usually what happens is people want to bring you down to their level because that's what insecurity kicks.
It's just more comfortable.
Yeah, it's so comfortable when they get jealous. You know what I'm saying? You know, seeing you succeed makes them feel like insecure about themselves. Like, okay, well, if he can do it, then why can't I do it?
Yeah.
Then it's like you start thinking excuses. Like those excuses don't mean anything anymore. So you try to bring them down to your level. So a lot of people, you know, are aware they're being programmed sometimes. You know what I mean? Because if you watch something so much, you realize to yourself, okay, I'm starting to think like these people on the show. I'm starting to act out like they are. You know what I mean?
Okay.
A good example would be like television shows. First thing I want to talk about, like, I know a lot of women change the way they act because of, you know, these love and hip hop shows or Real Housewives of Atlanta, things like that, where it focuses on people get into fights and arguments. Have you found that to be the case?
100%, yes. And the reason I can talk about this so strongly is because I've been on like past dates where
let's go.
I actually went to the girl's house, and instead of her and I having a talk, trying to get to know one another, she turned the TV on and she was watching Love and Hip Hop the entire time.
Oh my goodness!
Which the show is what it is.
Yeah,
no one's here to knock the show.
It's entertaining.
But constantly on that show, there's fights, people throwing drinks in other people's faces, swearing and all that stuff.
Belligerent.
That's not something that you want to do. Well, okay, that's not something you want to do on a date, for one thing. But once again, like you said, it is also influencing that person to react in that same way that they've been watching. And to think that that would be something that you would kind of show right away to someone else is already kind of telling of the person.
Yeah.
Like, you're already telling me a lot about you.
Exactly.
What you like, how you might react. Mm-hmm. And just because you watch the show doesn't mean that you'll react that way. Sometimes we just need shows like that to just unwind.
Yeah.
Be away from the world. That's why people like Jerry Springer.
Yeah.
But
rest in peace, Jerry.
Yeah. But at the same time, I strongly think that is the case because a lot of these reality TV shows are just based on entertainment and drama. Like that's why they succeed. They call it reality.
Yeah.
But it's actually an exaggerated reality. It is way more integrated into negative emotions than a normal conversation.
And from what I heard behind the scenes, they set things up like they intentionally give these I won't say actors, but whoever the people in the show, to give them like extra drink of liquor, you know what I'm saying? Have them meet up at certain places. They tell them what to do. To instigate these scenarios so fight will break out. Because if you actually watch these shows, they're literally just fighting about nothing. It doesn't make sense. A lot of this stuff can be diffused quickly just by having a conversation, but they don't want that.
Something big that is also happening today, and it's influencing not just adults, but also kids. And that's the gender ideology, man. Like, I strongly believe that children are being influenced to kind of switch up or change or have this very ambiguous sense of who they are. Mm-hmm. And children already, yes, they're kind of just learning the world. They're still getting into their own. And they need their parents to be able to guide them in that sense.
Absolutely.
But I want to know what you think. Like, would you agree? Like, a lot of what's going on, I can already see the smirk in your face. Do you think that children are being programmed to believe in a certain, to sway towards a certain gender ideology? What do you think?
I do have an opinion on that, a strong opinion, and 100% kids are probably the most programmable. You know what I'm saying? Because their minds aren't fully developed. If you understand the building blocks of the mind start in childhood, right? So if you can get the kid at a young age to believe a certain ideology, it'll stay with him or her till when they're adulthood. So they know that the future is the children because we'll all die out eventually, and those kids will have that same way of thinking, the same ideology, and then they'll be running the world. And that's what they want. It's obvious to me. You know what I'm saying? As a kid, your responsibility is to be parented by your parents. Your parents have been in the world longer than you. They have more experiences than you. So they have insights. It's not just about knowledge and information, right? I can read a book and memorize everything in the books and know more than my parents technically. And your parents have countless things of those in their life. But so that's why we're obligated to teach our kids that, right? But at the same time, they know that they don't want you to teach your kids the way you think. They want to, like I said, being programmed, they want to program what they want them to do.
How do you feel like they're programming?
Well, first you think like this, right? Who programs the kids, right? Like I said, we're all being programmed from somebody, the parents, right? So what you do is like this: you make it more difficult for the parents to spend more time for the kids, right? Like we're all working like 2 or 3, 4 or 5, 6, 7 jobs. Because inflation.
I would hope not. You could work that many jobs.
Okay, that's exaggerated, but hyperbole speaking. But we're spending more time trying to make money, trying to accumulate wealth because things are hard, right?
Got loans to pay off.
Exactly. Yeah. And then on another front, you're influencing women to become more independent. So women have to chase careers too. So who's watching the kids? The school system.
The teachers.
Yeah, it's what happened when we were kids too. I remember distinctly a teacher talked to us while we were kids about our personal and family life. And And then of course my mom found about it and she called the teacher on it. Thank you, Mom. So it happens. And we just have to be more aware of it. We have to be more on our kids to make sure that they're not being programmed by the wrong people. Because they can last their whole lives. But yeah, I mean, have you ever been in a situation where you feel like you're being programmed when you're a kid?
When I was a kid, yes, and I like you said, like we kind of grow up very naive and open-minded, and I think we should be programmed as kids. Even as adults, we should be programmed, but it's kind of like what you do with that.
Yeah.
But as a child, you don't really know. You don't really.
You can't decipher what's good knowledge and what's bad knowledge.
Exactly. So you just kind of take in whatever appeals to your emotions.
Yeah, like a sponge.
And at the same time, we do live in a very fallen world. Ladies and gentlemen, things will get dark. Things will get difficult. And if I just appeal to your emotions, or if you just appeal to my emotions when I was a kid, I could have been influenced to do anything. You could have influenced me to just feel better in that moment, to be able to identify with a certain group. And that might be a different gender, it might be something transgender, it might have been something else entirely. I don't know, but as long as you appeal to my sense of wonder, curiosity, my sense of loss. Like I might be in pain in a moment, and because I can identify with a certain other group, I might start identifying with that. I might be going through some trauma.
You're in verbal state, you're easy to be programmed when you're vulnerable.
Yeah.
Regards to
the best way to deal with it, or maybe the way that made the most sense to them, was to kind of identify as the opposite thing. To just kind of put that whole past away, to kind of block it off and identify as someone else entirely. So, thankfully, and I feel for people like that can't be easy, but I know for a fact that can be a way to help to program someone. So just kind of appeal to their senses, appeal to their self-interest, appeal to their pain, their trauma in a way. And we end up just kind of appealing to your emotions, not really thinking logically as a kid.
You're not, and you can be easy influenced. Like, I gave a story to my dad the other day, because it's like when we first got like internet, right? And we're playing a Cartoon Network website. This is like back when internet was still I can't say too much, I don't give up my age. But
you act like you're 50.
So anyways, so we're playing this game was Powerpuff Girls, right? And we like the Powerpuff Girls show. We watch it all the time. Mojo Jojo, the lobster guy with the claws. And there was a game they're playing on Cartoon Network, right? The Cartoon Network website. And we played this game where it was like Powerpuff Girls and they're throwing pills at each other. And we're getting really into it. We're like playing, trying to hit each other because you throw pills at the other Powerpuff Girls, you get points. And we're getting into it. We're not thinking like, this is like girls throwing pills at each other. This is kind of girly. It's kind of like, what as we guys doing playing like this girly game? We're not thinking about it. We're just thinking about, oh, this game is fun, right? And our dad came like,
hey, I hope you guys are enjoying this episode. If you want to hear how the story finishes, tune into the next part. We'll continue it in part 2. Always remember to like, comment, and subscribe.